my name is Daisy Hart, and today I'm going to teach you how to play the violin and the fiddle. Now this causes a lot of confusion. People often say to me, do you play the violin, do you play the fiddle? And I say, well actually I play both. The instrument is exactly the same, it's simply the style of music that dictates what it's called. So if you're playing more of a classical style, then people tend to call it a violin. If you want to do something more traditional, folk, country, then they call it a fiddle. I've been classically trained, which is why I do tend to call it the violin. However, I play with country bands, Irish bands, folk bands, so I like to do that sort of thing as well. The beginner's techniques are exactly the same for both, so we're going to go through sort of the parts of the violin, the beginner's techniques that we need, and then later on in my other videos I'm going to do courses on all the different styles of music where we might vary techniques slightly, but all the basics are going to be there. Okay, so I'm assuming you've got your violin all set up, 4 strings on there. If it's not set up, you do need to go and maybe take it to a local music shop. They'll be able to help you get the strings on and get you started. So we've got 4 strings. The lowest string is the G string. The G string is the thickest string on the instrument. Next we have the D, then the A, and then the E, which is the thinnest and the highest string. So if you just pluck those strings with your index finger, you'll be able to listen and hear and work out which one's which. Now I do have a little sentence to help you remember those, and that's good dogs always eat. So G, D, A and E. What you need to do is be very careful when holding your violin. You don't want to be knocking these are the tuning pegs. So if your violin's very out of tune, you'll alter these. If it's just a little bit out of tune, you'll use these, which we call the fine tuners. The best way to tune your violin is to use a tuner. You can buy electric tuners, which normally clip onto the scroll of the violin at the top. They pick up on the vibrations of the instrument, and then they'll let you know whether you're flat, which is too low, or sharp, which is too high. I, however, have my dad's tuner with me, which is about 20 years old. It's been dusted off though, and it still works. So I'm going to use this to demonstrate to you how you can get your violin in tune. So this one doesn't clip onto the violin, but I've turned it on. You can see here we've got the notes at the top of the tuner. So the notes at the top will tally up with the strings on your violin. The first string that we always tune is the A string. So we start with the A. So I simply pluck the A string, holding the tuner next to it. If you're lucky enough to have a modern one, of course it'll be at the top. Oops, just a minute, sorry. I don't know if you can see that from there. I'm going to come a bit closer. So the A is plucked, and you can see that the orange line is just below the middle marker. That means that my A string is too flat. So in order to make the note higher, I need to tighten the fine tuning forks, the fine tuners at the bottom. So I will turn it clockwise, just a small amount, only to a little bit. And I'll try again. Just try this by myself. And now I'm perfectly in tune on my A string. And you need to do that for all the strings. So I just quickly go through the other ones. So D, okay, that's also a little bit flat, which means the what do you call it? The stick is too far to the left, so we need to make it higher. So we tune the fine tuner that tallies up with the D string clockwise. And there we are, it's in tune. Same for the G string. Spot on. So after doing the A, the D and the G, you then do the E string, which is also spot on. Normally you want to go through and, you want to go through and do all those again. A is fine, D, G and E, so they're all fine. The reason that we do all the strings again is sometimes once you tighten or adjust one string, it will actually put the other strings out. Violins are a bit of a pain for going out of tune, particularly if it's a new instrument or it's not played much. You might find at the beginning of getting it, you're tuning it all the time. But once you've sort of playing it regularly, using it regularly, it will settle down. It's just a tiny bit of altering that you'll need to do. One very important thing is where you keep your violin. Never, ever, ever leave it in the car. Never put it by radiators or heaters or in extreme cold weather, because those too will affect the tuning. Now you've got your instrument in tune, we'll be ready to start in the next video on learning how to hold the violin and how to get started with the bow. Thank you for watching.